Hi, I'm Michael Welch, President and Chief Executive Officer of Rocky Mountain High Brands. Welcome to our 5th podcast. Today we're going to talk about a number of topics. We're going to have an update on our company operations. We're going to talk about some e-commerce opportunities. We're going to talk about the expansion of our HEMPd product line. We're going to talk about our current brands and our distribution channels. And we also have 2 guests with us today. We have Jens Melke, our Chief Financial Officer, and Oscar Herrera, our Director of Product Development, who's also helping Chuck Smith with operations. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before I turn this over to Oscar and Jens, I'd like to give you a brief update on our master agreement with CBD Alimentos. This afternoon we had a video conference. Y'all have to excuse my voice, I'm losing it. This afternoon we had a video conference with the CEO of CBD Alimentos. What we found out as a result of the video conference and during the update is that the Mexican equivalent of the FDA has increased the requirements on products that are being shipped into Mexico, that are being imported into Mexico. Christian Vega, who is our representative that's working with CBD Alimentos, is working directly with a representative of the Mexican FDA to meet those requirements. And we're coming to a conclusion or coming to the end of providing the information that they've requested. We expect to send the information to them within the next day or so, either tomorrow or Tuesday after Labor Day. And as soon as that's sent over to CBD Alimentos, they will present the data to I can't pronounce the name, so I'm just going to continue to refer to it as the Mexican equivalent to the FDA, to their FDA. And once they have approved the products and issued the permits, then CBD Alimentos will issue the purchase order to us. So we are just as anxious as everyone else is to get our first purchase order. I communicated that to their CEO today. I communicated how important the purchase order was to our company and to our shareholders, and that it was a very important event to this company, and I wanted to make sure that he understood that, which he did. And he also said it was a very important event to his company. So I just wanted to give everyone that update. So at this point in time, I'd like to now turn over our program to Oscar and Jens. And I'd like to start by, I'm going to pick on Oscar first.
Okay. Of course.
I'd like to start by asking Oscar something about your background. Oscar, tell us about what you did before you joined Rocky Mountain High and why you joined Rocky Mountain High.
Okay. Well, I come from the alcohol spirits. I've been in the business for 10 years, and so I'm very aware of beverage businesses and how they work and operate. And so I originally became a shareholder 4 years ago. And by becoming a shareholder, I was constantly viewing the stock and saying, oh my God, where's this thing going up and down and so forth. So, and I started just like mostly, probably a lot of investors, brought in all their friends and their family members and everybody that they can get on board because this is such a very exciting product. And unfortunately for all of us, it just didn't quite go in the direction that we wanted. So everyone asked me, well, you know so many people in the beverage industry. Why don't you get in there and help them out with all your connections? And I thought to myself, well, I don't know. I've got a pretty nice job, and I've been at it for quite a while. And they're like, well, but you really can't afford not to go. And I said, well, I guess you do have a point there. So I've been going to corporate office and talking to Michael and talking to Chuck and so forth, and they would pick my brain on what would you do in this case and what would you do in that case. And so I gave them my information and what I thought would work, and it all seemed to work in a positive manner. And at that point, they finally said, look, instead of you keeping coming over here and letting us buy you lunch every now and then, why don't we just make you an offer and you come on board and help us take this to the next level? And so at that point, I figured, well, yeah, this is what I need to do for all of us. So here we are. And, I brought in, there's a lot of people that'll tell you, hey, I've got a big Rolodex and of people, and then I know all these people. And that's great, and there's a lot of people that do have that, but for you to come out and actually prove it, that's a whole different story. So my job was to come over here and prove it, and what I did is I came to the company and I proved it many a times, as you're well aware, Michael.
That's right.
Prior to coming to the company. So when I came to the company, I said, okay, I'm gonna use my contacts, and we're going to work with these people. And to show you how good of contacts they are, as an example, I would bring in the our label guy that we used for several years in my other company, my shipping, the manufacture of the boxes and so forth. And just by me coming over and the relationship that I had previously had with them at the other company, they said, we don't even have to have credit references. We're going to automatically give you credit because you're working with Oscar. And that's the kind of stuff that Rocky Mountain High wanted and needed. And it makes a big difference because now you have purchasing power. The level with this Mexican deal that Christian has taken on and the company has taken on is so great that it's almost hard to comprehend, which is really good. But that comes with a whole other set of, I don't want to call it problems, but situations that you have to take care of, such as how are you going to handle all this packaging, and how are you going to handle all this labels and bottles and so forth. So there's a lot of operational stuff that right. Most people don't think about.
Right.
But
right.
It's there. It's kind of like, and I've used this term many times, it's like preparing for a tsunami. How do you do that?
Right.
So, and that's what we're doing. And so I, in the operational part of it, I work with everybody really in the office. I'll work with Michelle as far as packaging. I'll work with Chuck Smith as far as setting up all the manufacturing part of it. I assist Christian with Mexico since I'm bilingual, so I have a little bit more experience in that field that he does, but he obviously has the connection. So I'm kind of like the puppeteer at times. I feel like
you're the jack of all trades.
There you go. And so yeah, I'm all over the place. So when I first came to Rocky Mountain High, I was asked, well, which office do you want? And I said, I'll take this one, and I'll take that one, and that one, and that one. They're like, what do you mean? I said, I don't really need an office. I'm going to move all over the place because there's a lot of stuff to do. And that's what we do. I mean, we get after it, and we try to do what's best for the company and bring in as many manufacturers and options that we could possibly bring in.
Right. You've brought a lot to our company, and we really appreciate it. So you've brought a lot of different options. You've helped us reduce cost, and so we really appreciate the expertise and the different contacts that you've brought in. So
thank you.
Thank you very much. So why don't you also talk about some of the things that you and I have been working on in terms of the things that we've been working on with different co-packers and with our fulfillment house. Let's talk about some of that.
Right. So we basically sat down and said, okay, let's just start from ground floor and let's see where we're at and where we need to be. So obviously you and I, we took a couple of trips. We went to CO Fulfillment Center in Florida.
Right.
So we can have a better understanding of what it is they do, what it is we want, and what their capabilities are.
Right.
And it was a very eye-opening experience when we went there. They have the potential to do a lot, and I went over there with my ideas on how to like market our Amazon. I looked at some of the sites that we had. We only had 1 or 2 pictures of our product, and I said, well, no, you have the capability of adding more pictures. We can add 4 or 5 different angles of pictures. So I brought up some of the products as an example that they sold, and I said, well, let's look at some of those. And then they showed us what they can actually do, and I said, well, that's what we want. So we come here to give you new direction. whatever it is that whatever direction you had before, let's just scratch that and start over. And so they were very open to that. We went over and talked to all the people that talked to the customer service. If you have something positive to say, negative to say, questions about anything, they were all great. I mean, these people really take the time. They ask the right questions. They had questions for us. We had questions for them, but very, very positive outcomes. So we were, or at least I was. Michael had been there before. I'd never been, but I was very pleased with the distribution center that we have on board. And I'm very excited for what they can do based on all the information they gave us. So we spent 2 days there going over everything, and we don't want to have this problem with falling short on this or falling short on that. And so we're having to tweak some things, just like anything else. It's a growing company, so
right.
So we were very, very happy with that.
One of the things that we discovered while we were there are some of the function and features of Amazon that we weren't aware of, and how we better utilize Amazon in terms of the Amazon marketplace, and what we need to do as a company to more fully optimize our products on Amazon. And we're actually working on that right now. Michelle's working on that in conjunction with the people at DMI, which is our fulfillment center in Florida. And so we've got that in motion at the current time. One of the things that her team's working on currently that we hope to unveil soon is secondary packaging, which will allow us not only to improve the way we deliver the product, but it'll also allow us to have more information shown pictorially on Amazon for the product.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So when we went over there, I suggested, okay, so if I buy this product, I'm going to play the customer here. And so I said, I'll play the customer when I receive this product. What does it look like? And it was just very plain to me.
Right.
And I come from a packaging world, and I said, we can definitely make this look a lot better. And you've got a great product here. Why don't we make it look great? I mean, there's some basic products out on the market that the product's nowhere near what we have, and the packaging is really nice, and people think, oh my God, this is the filet mignon of products.
Right.
And that's not the case always. So there's a lot of room for growth and improvement there. So we are definitely working on that. The other thing that when we went to Colorado, because you and I also we took our planes, trains, automobiles, and buses trip. So anyway,
the Denver airport's a trip, isn't it?
Yes, it's something else if you've never been there. But anyway, so we get there, and it's the same concept. We go in there with an open mind, and okay, tell me what you can do, what your capabilities are, where are we now, and this is where we see ourselves. So my thought was, okay, you have different products. I would like to see smaller size samples so that we can offer the customer options. I'm all about options. So if you try a product and it's in a small sample, you may be, if you really like it, you'll be more apt to buy the larger size. So like for example, the salve, we have it in a 250 milligram. I asked for a 500 milligram and a 1,000 milligram in a smaller size. So if you try the 500 and that works for you, try the 1,000 and that works for you, you're more apt to buy the bigger size.
Right.
So again, it's all about options, and same thing with some of the tinctures. I said, is it possible to make this in a smaller size? And they said, yeah, it is possible if you want it. And I said, well, I want options. That's what I want our customers to have. And if you try a smaller option, you like it, you'll either buy another one or refer it. I mean, that's the name of the game. And so our idea is to have repeat business. If you just buy one of our products and that's it, then we haven't done our job.
Right.
And our job is to keep it going. The products are great. People just need to try it. We're all walking billboards. I mean, some people say, oh, I don't like to talk about this because I'm shy.
Right.
Well, maybe I'll send you a shirt that says, ask me about Rocky Mountain High.
Right.
I don't know, whatever it takes. I mean, we all have friends and family, or at least family, that you can talk about this, but the products are great. So at the end of the day, we want more options is basically what we want for all our customers. more affordable options so they can try it out. And we're also looking at different venues as far as we looked at doggy treats.
Right.
With CBD. I mean, that's a huge market. So we're gonna start dabbling a little bit in that and working with Michelle to get all the information that we need, and possibly have a line for that for our, the furry babies that everybody loves. And most of these people that I know will spend more on their furry babies than they will themselves. So that's a whole different market. But
that is.
It's just when we asked about it, people were like, "Oh my God, this." People are asking about all these products for pets.
Right.
And so I'm like, well, I'm not opposed to that, to having options.
Right.
Along with all the other drinks and so forth that we have.
Right. So I mean, in summary, right now we're looking at, in September, we're coming out with the lineup of 4 CBD infused flavored waters that we've already talked about on this show. And now we're looking at, with our co-packer in Colorado, we're partnering with them to come out with a different lineup of sizes, a smaller sample size.
That's correct.
As well as on our salve, different strengths on the salve.
That is correct. Yes.
And then they've given us samples on dog treats that we're most likely going to come out with sometime in the fourth quarter. So we're trying to expand our product line to meet the needs of our consumers.
That's correct.
I've also met with someone recently who is an alchemist and a nutritionalist who's developed a line of CBD edibles. So that's one of the things that's coming up in the near future, is we work out the details on that. So we're very excited about how we're expanding the hemp product line, and we'll be working on that over the next quarter as to how we release these products and what form and when we're able to actually do the release on them.
Right, and there's a lot that goes into it. Again, it's just, I mean, even we looked at the brownies. I mean, that's something that people have requested, and so we have different sources of brownies coming in, so we can try those and see which fits best. But again, I mean, you're looking at even Mexico was interested in brownies. They said, well, bring us samples. And I said, well, what do you consider samples? Well, like 50,000. I'm like, oh my God, So what they consider samples and what the normal person considers samples is totally different. But what we have to take in mind, okay, how much packaging is all this going to take? So those are the sources that you also have to realize. And we can't just have one co-packer. We have to have several when you're talking numbers like that. But it's also a big investment. I mean, when you're buying that kind of stuff, especially if it's a new company, some of these people will say, well, no, we want you to pay for it all up front, or, we'll half front, and if you're lucky, half up front, half in the back. So it's just a lot of work. I mean, people just think, well, why don't you just come out with this? It's not that simple. There's a lot of stuff that has to happen on the background.
No.
So and you obviously know this, because you're like, well, where are we on this? And so I mean, you obviously ask for updates, which is great, and that's your job. But we just have a lot of things going on right now.
No, we do. Definitely. Well, great. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
Well, other than Mr. Christian just working hard on his Mexican group here, we're very, very excited about that. I mean, we try to hold back as much as possible, because we're kind of in a spot where that's all we can do. But it's definitely coming. That's about all I can tell you.
Right.
And just the preparation for that is just, again, like I said, you're preparing for a tsunami. And I'll tell Christian, I like myself and Chuck, we like to work in the background and just do the stuff that needs to be done. And I tell Christian, well, you can, I'll tell you like my banker tells me, you take the credit and I'll take the cash.
Right.
And let's go with it.
Right.
And so.
Well, you were on the call today when I asked the CEO if I could disclose the name of the parent company.
That's right.
And he asked me again not to.
Yes.
And so we tried again today, and again today he said we're not quite ready for that.
That's right. He did,
and I understand why. He has his reasons.
He does.
For competitive reasons in Mexico with what they're doing.
Yes, it's a very competitive.
And I know
business.
we have some very anxious shareholders that don't understand that. I read the blogs. I hear the people that say this isn't real. They're making this up. I read all that junk.
Hey, I was one of those guys.
I know.
When you're in the office and you're doing whatever it is that you do, and you sneak away and you look on your cell phone or you look at the stock or see what the posts are on whatever site you're looking at, and you go, why is nothing happening? I tell you, they have to tell me what the stock did at the end of the day because I am so busy. It's like night and day.
Way.
I don't have time to look at the stock, but I already know what's happening.
Right.
Because I'm the one controlling it or helping put this thing together, and so I know what it takes. So the mere fact that it is where it is doesn't even bother me anymore. That's not even the case anymore.
Right.
Which wasn't the way it was when I wasn't working here.
Right.
So,
right.
But again, there's only so much you can tell somebody.
I asked our SEC attorney yesterday to prepare a blanket response because we have shareholders that contact us directly all the time wanting information.
Right.
And as a publicly traded company, we can't selectively disclose information.
Right.
I mean, Jens can address that issue because he's he's a former SEC auditor. He knows the rules. And so we can't do that. It's not fair. It doesn't maintain a level playing field amongst all the investors, and I understand that. And
Absolutely.
But we have investors. We had an investor that sent David Seeberger an email recently saying that she wanted weekly updates on our financial status. It's like, come on, really?
Yeah. But we get calls all the time from all over. The last one that Christian and I got was from Brazil. Brazil's interested in a product. And I said, Christian gets excited, which we all do, but I said, let's take care of one first, and then we can move on to the other. But the name is getting around, just the mere fact that people knew that somehow the picture of that drink got out to Brazil, and when they saw it was coming from Mexico, and the mere fact that it said powered by Rocky Mountain High,
right?
They came back to Rocky Mountain High and said, we're ready to do something with somebody.
Right.
Can you help us? And so we answered their questions and just said, let's finish what we have going now before we start dabbling into something else. I mean, we've got plenty of things to do here.
Right.
So it's easy to get distracted, but obviously we have to know where we're at and where we're headed.
Right. I agree. Well, thank you. I really appreciate you coming on today, and I'm really glad that you're a member of our team now.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Jens.
Yes, Michael.
So tell us about your background and how long we've known each other.
Yeah, well, we've known each other over 20 years now.
I know. It's great.
I think we met at a community printer at Deloitte back in the day.
It has been a long time.
Yeah, it has. So, as far as my background, I spent a little over 20 years at Deloitte. Last 10 as an audit partner. Did a lot of public companies, some large companies here in town, and some startup work as well, which helps me now. And then I left to go do some things that I thought might be more fun, and done some consulting in the meantime, and also worked at another small cap public company for a while. So. You and I have stayed in touch over the years, and I guess it was about 6 or 8 months after you came over here, I came over here too. So this will be the third. This is the third time we've worked together. So
it's great.
It's kind of wild.
It's great. I love it. I love working with you.
Same here. Thank you. Same here.
Thank you. So. Well, let's talk about some things that you get involved in, which are all financially oriented and control oriented.
Yes.
you touch every aspect of our business. I mean,
To some degree, that's right.
You're really involved in just everything that we do.
Mhm.
So if I have a question on what's going on in just about anything, I come to you. So you're involved in really everything that we've got going on. So one of the things that I'd like to talk about specifically is a couple of shows ago, I had Tawana on,
Mhm.
the consultant that we engaged to help us through the process of becoming a certified minority-owned business enterprise. And that has some far-reaching ramifications for not only Eagle Spirit Water, but all of our brands.
That's right.
And I was wondering if you could kind of talk about that a little bit and how that's going to impact us overall once we have completed that process and we have actually achieved that certification, which we're getting very close to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so as you mentioned, it does have far-reaching impact, and once we have that certification, that not only will help get our water into various governmental and other agencies, but it would also help our other brands through that water connection, if you will, and through that water certification. So it's not just limited to that company and to that business line. So we will have opportunities for all of our brands as they grow to potentially get into the doors that certification will give us. And we mentioned the governmental agencies a lot, but there are also private companies out there that like to do business with companies that have certifications like that, and they set aside a portion of their spending dollar to work with companies that have minority business certifications. So there are just lots of ways this is going to help us when we get everything finalized and done. And that's not even to mention we've talked a little bit on this show, but I know you've talked in the past on our e-commerce channel and how important that is to us right now. In the queue that we filed earlier this month, we show what our online sales are, and they're a huge portion of our business, and I think they'll continue to be a huge portion of our business. And so there'll be ways to use our minority business certification for Rocky Mountain High Water Company online as well. And one of the things we talked about with our fulfillment and Amazon folks at Buy DMI is Amazon, for example, has I'll call it an area of the marketplace for companies that have designations like that, and that gives them direct access to people who want to buy from companies that have those types of certifications. So once we have that, that'll give us yet another avenue to sell. So it's very, very exciting, and obviously ultimately means dollars for us, dollars in sales.
No, without a doubt. Could you put the chart up for us? So one of the things that we put together today that we worked on together was this distribution channel chart for all of our various brands to show the different ways in which we will bring revenue into the company for our different brands. And why don't you walk through that for us?
Sure. So obviously the column, the first column, the brands, those are our brands: Eagle Spirit, HEMPd, Fitway, which we acquired in late July, and then Rocky Mountain High, which is our I'll call it our legacy brand, the one we've been known for the longest. And then across the top are distribution channels. So we've got e-commerce, and then the government contracts with the minority business enterprise designation. retail, Native American tribes, and private label. So, for example, with Eagle Spirit, our plan, and really we're executing on that plan in almost all areas now, is to be in all of the distribution channels across the board. Clearly, we're already in e-commerce. We're available. The water's available on Amazon. The water's available on our proprietary website. It's certainly available in retail stores and to our in Native American outlets. But we're already having conversations and well down the path with private label. And then what we talked about just a minute ago, government contracts with the Minority Business Enterprise designation. I think that will be a no-brainer for us to be able to get potential government contracts, as well as I mentioned, private companies who want to do business with minority business certified companies. And with Eagle Spirit, just as a reminder to everyone, I think we talk about this in probably every 10K and 10Q that we file, but our Eagle Spirit water is sold through Rocky Mountain High Water Company, which is majority owned by Pofabidi Family LLC, which are a group of Comanche Native Americans in Oklahoma. And so
and that's the group we have the business alliance with.
Exactly. That business alliance was formed in 2016, and through that alliance, we sell the water. And because the family is a majority owner of that business, we're eligible to seek the Minority Business Enterprise designation. So that will certainly get us immediate doors opened from a government perspective, an agency perspective, and that could be federal, state, or local in some instances. But then also, again, I don't want to leave out that there are private businesses out there that want to do business with those types of designated organizations. So we stand to really benefit from that designation in a lot of ways. So that's Eagle Spirit, and then we go down a road to HEMPd, which was our brand that we launched in late March, early April of this year. And currently plans are to be in the e-commerce, which we already are, retail, which we already are, but also in the government contracting and Native American business channels. Currently, we don't have plans from a private label perspective. That's not to say we wouldn't be interested if something came to us, but obviously we have to pick and choose what we want to pursue at any given point. So right now, I think we're well served to stay in those four channels, and I think again we have a lot of opportunity there. Certainly, e-commerce, our Amazon platform, has been huge for HEMPd, and our website as well. We're also in retail, and that area is growing a lot, but Amazon is really taking off. So we're really happy with the growth we're getting week over week. And then the next row, Fitway, which, as I mentioned, was our late July acquisition. Currently, Fitway is available on e-commerce platforms as well as retail. But again, I think Fitway is a brand that will benefit from our minority business designation and likely the Native American tribe channel as well. So lots of opportunity there. The founder of Fitway that has come on board as an employee, I mean, he's a very energetic guy, and he's got a lot of things going.
He's a walking billboard for the brand.
He absolutely is. And
he's amazing.
He couldn't be more happy to be with us, and I think we couldn't be more happy to have him join us. And he's going to open some doors for us, and through some of the things that we bring to the table, I think we're going to open some doors for him as well. And then Rocky Mountain High, again, our what I call our legacy brand. I think we have opportunities in all these areas. Oscar talked about the private label opportunity with Mexico. That's obviously huge for the company. There may be more private label opportunities, whether it's in Brazil, as Oscar mentioned, or elsewhere, possibly domestically. So we have all those doors open to us with the Rocky Mountain High brand as well. E-commerce, which we have through our Live Rocky Mountain High and our Amazon pages, those are still going strong. And then we'll have potential with through the Minority Business Enterprise designation. We already have our retail, and we're already in some Native American C-stores with that brand. So we've got a lot of opportunity, and just, as Oscar mentioned, we got a lot going on, and we got a lot of work to do. All those check marks represent a lot of opportunity and a lot of work at the same time, so we're busy.
So if you look at our agreement, right, our master agreement with CBD Alimentos right now, if you went to the Rocky Mountain High row and the private label column, that would be that check mark.
That is that check mark, yes.
So the products that we've developed for them are basically updated versions of the original Rocky Mountain High beverages with CBD added to them.
Yes.
They're versions of the original Rocky Mountain High beverages with sugar-free and sugar-added formulations of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I remember when we had the very first meeting with them in our office. I mean, they love the original drinks,
right?
And just kind of wanted a supercharged version of that. And I think our team has come up with that.
Right. So one thing I'd like to point out is one thing that we've learned from working with by DMI on our shipping cost is by going to 12-ounce bottles and 12 packs that we can minimize our shipping cost, and with their relationship with Amazon that we are eligible to move to a situation where Amazon will actually buy the product. It's their initials for it.
The Vendor Central program?
Right,
yes.
The Vendor Central program.
That's right. So, one of the things that we're obviously focused on not only is growing sales, but also containing costs.
Right.
And so we've spent time with ByDMI, who is not only managing our Amazon for us on hemp, but also our fulfillment center. And so we've talked to them at length and are working through a plan to get those costs reduced. And one of the avenues for that is to be invited into Amazon's Vendor Central program. And so what that means is instead of our product being produced and then shipped to, say, a warehouse that we lease or control or have some portion of, product goes directly to Amazon distribution centers. So rather than it possibly making two trips, a product would make essentially one trip to a distribution center and then ultimately to the consumer. So obviously you save a lot of money that way in shipping. It's not an automatic, but it's something that we feel ByDMI is going to help us get that invitation to the party. And so that then, of course, factors into what's our packaging look like, what's our packaging size, what's the optimal weight, what's the optimal dimensions. So we're working with them, with their knowledge base of Amazon, and kind of working backwards, if you will, with our co-packers to get those things optimized so we can get into those types of programs and, again, ultimately save us a lot of money. So that's the plan.
Okay, great. Well, that's we're very excited about that. So is there anything else that you can think that we would like to share today with our budding studio audience?
I think as Oscar mentioned, as you mentioned, I mean, I think everybody at the company is working really, really hard. We're not, taking anything for granted. We know, we have a lot of shareholders and they have high expectations, and we have high expectations of ourselves. and we're working to exceed those expectations. So, help us out and buy our product and support us when you can, because it's great products. It really is.
Well, I certainly second that motion. So, well, thank you both for joining us today. I think it was very informative.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.